According to MIT, 95% of generative AI projects are doomed to fail. Companies are burning hundreds of thousands of dollars on projects that are showing no real ROI. In this video, I'll show you exactly where the 95% of companies are going wrong and how to avoid it. I'll show you the number one reason why these projects fail and how to actually drive an automation and AI project in your business that delivers ROI. I'll walk you through how to decide if you should build something internally or buy an existing solution, and I'll let you in on the single biggest mistake I see small and medium businesses making when deciding to start an AI project. Plus, as an added bonus, I'll give you my 5-step solutions framework that helps me deliver my clients automation projects that actually drive ROI. Let's get into it. Right now, there are 3 big mistakes that companies are making when getting into AI. They're chasing trends instead of solving problems. They're building when you should be buying, and they're starting without first understanding. Let's get into mistake number 1, chasing trends instead of solving problems. The reason your AI project is going to fail is because you're chasing a trend instead of solving a real problem. With all the pressure to implement an AI initiative, you, like a lot of other people, are desperate to implement something and not get left behind. So you make the obvious choice, a sales and marketing automation. Why? Because it's easy to justify to your CEO and board. We'll automate email outreach, we'll deploy a chatbot for customer questions, and we'll use AI to write our content are some of the things I hear my customers saying. These projects have clear metrics that are easily communicated, and pitching them feels like a no-brainer, except it isn't. The same MIT study that found that 95% of these automation projects are going to fail found that over 50% of the budget allocated to AI projects was going towards sales and marketing automation. And that wasn't because sales and marketing automations drove a clear ROI, it was because of the easier metric attribution that goes with these projects, which was contributing to a bias. This is because sales and marketing wins are visible, they're board friendly, and you can really easily put them on a slide deck. But it's not actually where the ROI is. The actual ROI is in back office automation that nobody wants to talk about. That same MIT study found massive wins with back office automation and clear ROI. They found that companies were saving $2 to $10 million annually by eliminating BPO, or business process outsourcing. They were cutting their agency spend by over 30%. And in risk checks for financial services, they were saving over $1 million a year. But these aren't the only applications for back office automation and generative AI platforms. So why, despite the massive wins with back office automation, are companies still progressing with sales and marketing automations? Because back office automation is hard to explain and hard to justify. One of the executives MIT interviewed said, "How do I quantify that my team works faster? And how do I justify to my CEO when it won't directly move more revenue?" And if you're struggling to quantify it as well, I made a free ROI calculator, which is linked in the description below. It's totally free. Check it out. And it'll show you exactly how much you could be saving using back office automation and AI. According to that same MIT, the reality is that front office wins are visible and board friendly, but back office deployments are often delivering much faster payback periods and clearer cost reductions. Mistake number 2, building when you should be buying. Internal builds or custom solutions are failing twice as often as external partnerships. I've seen this myself with my own clients, and they often come to me to salvage a bad project. But the data is clear from MIT. When you try to build your own AI solution, you're twice as likely to fail. When you use an external partner, you actually have nearly a 70% success rate. Although I would say that's much higher if you pick the right automation partner. So why do companies keep trying to build themselves? It's because they think we know our business better than anyone else. And it's true, you do know your business better than anyone else. You have smart people. How hard can it be to implement these tools? Tools like N8N, Zapier have never been easier to use. So it's a fair question. But the problem these teams are facing is they don't know how these solutions actually work at scale and in production. What the difference is between a technical approach that works for a demo and what's actually going to work for your organization over the long term. They end up building solutions that work for right now, but box you in later down the track and don't scale with your business. So companies that are winning with AI and automation, they aren't trying to reinvent the wheel. They're just trying to use AI better, because that's where your competitive advantage is. Trying to use AI better than anyone else rather than developing your own internal tools. Here's what's actually working right now. Companies are looking for off-the-shelf solutions for AI and integrating them deeply with their existing workflows, with best-in-class automation and integration. Recently, I ran a project for a lawn care franchise in New Zealand. When they first came to me, they were looking for an AI lawn quoting solution, something that would allow them to automatically quote a lawn area for a given address. Their first idea was that they needed to build their own system internally, and that would have cost them thousands of dollars and probably got them a pretty average result. So what I recommended instead was to look around the market for vendors that were already doing this and had already specialized in great lawn measurement AI. I found them a great partner firm, convinced them to build support for New Zealand, and by working closely with them and the customer, we were able to shape an automation that has integrated seamlessly within their existing workflows, talks to their CRM, and does everything they wanted to achieve. Now that project is actually delivering ROI, not because I tried to reinvent the wheel and design a solution from scratch that was already existing in the market, but because we found the best offering and integrated it seamlessly. Mistake number 3 is deploying before you understand. The single biggest mistake that I see companies making when deciding to launch an AI project is a fundamental failure in understanding that AI is only as good as your data and processes. For most companies, they aren't ready for an AI solution. They're chasing the shiny object when the highest ROI solutions are sitting right under their nose. They'll say to me, we need an AI agent to handle our onboarding process. But when you actually map that process out, you discover the data is a mess, there's no defined processes, and the processes that they do have aren't being followed. Nobody's following the same workflow, and the CRM hasn't been updated properly in 2 years. AI can't fix these problems. What these companies actually need is a systematic audit of their processes, a solid data pipeline, and to automate using traditional tools before jumping headfirst into AI. Only 5% of workflow-specific AI tools actually deliver any ROI and reach production. And that's because most companies are deploying these tools while they're missing the highest ROI back-end automations that are actually costing them time and money. It's boring things like document processing and proposal generations, onboarding automations, not agents, system integrations, and order automation. These are the things that don't get a lot of attention, they're hard to explain and hard to quantify, but they're actually driving ROI for businesses with automation. So what are companies that are succeeding actually doing right now? They're mapping their actual workflows, they're understanding where the data lives, and they're identifying integration points and repeatable workflows for automation. They're talking to everyone in the business, especially the people that are actually using these solutions, and they're getting expert advice on how to implement something that's going to scale with their business. They understand the business requirements before they even touch the technology. They're driving high ROI by finding the back-end processes that are costing their teams time and money, designing sustainable, scalable automation, and driving results with traditional tools before layering in AI on top. All right, so now I've talked about what not to do and what mistakes companies are making. I want to explain to you how to become part of the 5% that are actually seeing success with AI. This proven 5-step framework that I use for every single one of my clients has what allowed me to build automations that save hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Step 1 is a strategy alignment workshop. It's the first thing I do whenever I bring on a new client. I get everyone in a room, executives, department heads, and the people who control the budgets, and we answer 4 questions. What are the actual pain points? What are your strategic goals? What's the current state of your operations? And where do you think the problems are? From there, we'll listen, we'll ask, and we'll poke. We'll identify the core problems that are actually worth solving. At this point, we're not talking solutions at all. We're not looking at demos. We're not trying to decide on which tool is right. We're just trying to understand the business, the problems, and what we're actually trying to solve. Most companies haven't even articulated the problem before we sit down together. This first session gives them the opportunity to work collaboratively with their team to understand the problem and to brainstorm solutions. Once we finish with that first session, we move on to step 2, which is identifying the high impact workflow automations. Now that we understand the goals and the pain points, we can identify workflows that are costing money, creating the biggest bottlenecks, and are actually repeatable and documentable. Here's the key thing to be successful. Not every problem needs AI, and not every problem needs automation. Some problems just need better processes. Some need better training, and some need a simple automated workflow. We're looking for automation opportunities that will actually move the needle without over-automating the business or spending money where we aren't going to see a return. After we've identified our highest impact opportunities, we then go to the frontline staff, to the people that are actually performing the work every day, and validate them. This is the most important step and one most companies skip. We run workshops with the people actually doing the work every day to understand how they're approaching the problems and what tools they're using themselves. And because they're already implementing AI in their day-to-day workflows through consumer products like ChatGPT and Claude and Copilot, then we can take those opportunities for automation, see exactly where they're making efficiencies themselves, and bring them to the wider organization. At this point, we're documenting what actually happens, not what the SOP says. We're understanding where the handoffs are, what the dependencies between these processes are, where things typically break down, what the decision points are, where they're copying, pasting between systems, and where people are wasting time on repetitive tasks. This part of the process is where you discover that your simple process isn't as simple as you first thought. It's actually 7 steps longer and involves 5 other people that you didn't even know about. Once I understand the business, we've spoken to the stakeholders at the executive level, to the frontline staff that are actually doing the work, we start to look for opportunities. And that leads into our automation opportunity assessment. This is where I start to categorize each of the opportunities that we've identified as workflow automation, AI-enabled automation, AI agents, or manual processes. Most processes end up following the 60-30-10 rule when it comes to categorization. 60% are deterministic workflows. That's boring input in, input out workflows using Zapier, Make, or N8N. They don't need AI at all. It's just traditional workflow automation that's been around for years. It's API integrations, it's rules-based logic, it's making sure the data from your CRM is talking to the data in your support tool. It's making sure that your systems are aligned and your data quality is great. These are things like when someone fills out a form, create a record in the CRM. When a deal closes, send 3 or 4 emails and create a folder in Google Workspace. When an invoice is paid, update the accounting system. The 60% of workflow automations deliver high ROI, they're repeatable, reliable, and something that will scale with your business. The next 30% are AI augmented workflows. These are where AI actually makes sense. It's bringing AI into these deterministic processes to make key decisions, classifications, intelligent routing, things like that. Perhaps content that needs to be personalized at scale, or domain-specific agents. That should only take up around 30% of the workflows that you identify. The last 10% shouldn't be automated at all. Those are processes that are too high risk, they're too complex, they require too much human decision-making, or they're just not repeatable enough. When designing our automation solutions, we're not looking to automate 100% of use cases. We're looking to automate the critical mass of repeatable processes that will drive ROI without adding unnecessary complexity. And that's different to what most companies are doing. They think AI can be applied to every single part of their business. Automation can handle everything, and they're ignoring that some processes are actually better with human intervention, and over automation is sometimes worse than no automation at all. And really, when you're using 60% boring, deterministic workflow automations that doesn't use AI at all, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's more reliable. Then on top of that, we add on the AI layer when it actually makes sense, instead of just throwing AI at everything. Now that we've listed out all of the different potential automations that we're going to build, we start to map them on an ROI matrix. It has 2 axes, the implementation effort and the expected ROI. This gives us 4 quadrants. Quick wins, where they're low effort, high ROI. These are the ones we want to pounce on and implement as fast as possible. Strategic processes. These are high effort, high ROI projects that take a long time to come to fruition, but will actually deliver lasting value for the business. Fill-ins. That's the low effort, low ROI projects that maybe we do these when we have time, but they're not a priority. Then we have the money pits. These are the high effort, low ROI automations that are a waste of time. They might sound cool, but it's a waste of money and effort. We then present this back to the business with clear ROI metrics. This workflow automation will save you 15 hours per week. That delivers a X% ROI on your investment and has a payback period of less than 6 months. These are the types of automations that we focus on. They're the ones that are actually going to drive return for your business, and they're the ones that are going to allow you to be in the 5% of companies that are actually winning with AI and automation. After we've done that and we've highlighted our high impact, high ROI opportunities, only then do we discuss technical tools and implementation. Because now we actually know what problems we're solving, what workflows need automation, where AI actually makes sense, what ROI we're targeting, and what success actually looks like. This is the perfect time to start looking at tools. At this point, we're making intelligent decisions about what the business needs, what to buy, and how to implement it. We're not buying AI because it's trendy. We're not jumping on the first tool that gives us a demo. We're buying specific solutions built for specific outcomes that will drive measurable ROI. And that's how you stay on the right side of the AI divide. Look, 95% of companies are failing right now. You have the opportunity to be in the 5% that are winning. And there's a massive opportunity for those that get this right. The difference between companies that succeed with AI and fail is not the technology. It's the systems and processes they build, design, and understand before they implement. Start with strategy, map your workflows, find the highest ROI opportunities, then buy the right tool and implement it properly. And if you want help with this, this is exactly what I do. There's a link in the description if you want to have a quick chat. I help companies understand their processes, identify high impact opportunities, and help them implement these solutions so they become part of the 5% that are winning with AI. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. I've linked that ROI calculator in the description below. It will help you understand exactly how much money and time you can be saving with back office workflow automation. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.